Hey guys, what's going on? Shaw here, and today we are talking Protection Paladin. On the beta, I haven't done too much testing. I'm level 62. There have been a little bit of issues with the talent tree adjustments, meaning like if I want to change talents, sometimes it's not letting me. There's been kind of a bug with Divine Toll or changing talents too frequently, and I think it's a bug because obviously I should be able to change talents if I want to, despite being in a rested area or not. I'm currently in a dungeon, but there's been some issues with that. Now, I want to talk about my kind of first impressions of the class so far. I've done a fair bit of questing, and I've done a handful of dungeons, both in Legacy of Tyr, as well as Ruby Life Pools. 2 dungeons, fairly trash intense, so you're kind of seeing where Paladins shine in kind of the 5 to 10 target range when it comes to damage. Now, I kind of want to go over the pros and cons, how the class feels so far, and just kind of my general overall thoughts. I don't think I need to main the class to know that it kind of feels like shit. Because currently in Shadowlands especially, Blizzard took a direction with the class that made it feel very good. The rotation was very fluid. We had this kind of like exponential growth of holy power generation over the course of Shadowlands that made the class feel very, very good. You had a pretty core set rotation. You always had a little bit extra ways to generate holy power if needed, aka like an extra charge of Hammer of the Righteous. And you're, especially with the tier set, being able to generate extra judgments based off of blocking an attack. Something that you guys might be aware of or might know, looking at the beta talent tree, looking at the statements by Blizzard, and also probably other content creators who talk about Paladin, is that they are taking away the holy power generation of Avenger Shield, which is very noticeable, by the way. Unlike things like Warrior, which I've talked about already, where their rage generation is kind of through the roof and kind of has been growing exponentially since pretty much the end of Shadowlands. Going into this new talent tree, they're going to just have infinite rage to spend, which feels really good. There probably will be nerfs that come to that. But on the other side of that, the Prot Paladin is going to be losing a lot of generation. So if you think about your 3 holy power generators, you have Hammer of the Righteous / Blessed Hammer. I am currently playing Blessed Hammer, and I'll talk about that in a bit. You have Hammer of the Righteous, you have Judgment, and then you had Avenger Shield. So you took away one full ability that generated holy power. Judgment still has a very similar CD. Running Blessed Hammer gives us an extra charge, but eventually you'll run out of those charges when you're kind of trying to just generate holy power quickly. Leveling and some of the footage that you're going to see in this video, as I kind of just talk over this recording, is you're going to see me like probably generating a good bit of holy power, but just keep in mind that I still have my 4 set active. I have played without the 4 set, and I have played without the 2 set as well. I tried to test in some certain dungeons, and holy shit, when you take that 4 set off, you immediately feel squishy. Prot Paladin, unfortunately, is returned to a state where you don't feel tanky. You can do a good bit of damage, you can do a good bit of burst damage, there's some great talents, there's some pros to this talent tree, but one thing that I would just kind of say to Blizzard, if they ever happen to see this video, or as anyone who's just watching this to figure out what main they want to play, there's 2 things that I would say that they need to add. And it could be either or, it doesn't have to be both, but either return holy power generation to Avenger Shield. The rotation feels the same. It's not like they're making you being able to Avenger Shield like crazy. I think that's fine. I think the holy power generation, how it was and how it has been in the past, and how it should be going forward, should be enough to be able to actually use Shield of the Righteous consistently. You're obviously going to get free procs of WOG, but that's the only time you can WOG. If you try to WOG, use Word of Glory or Hand of the Protector, outside of that free proc, your Shield of the Righteous is going to fall off, and as any Paladin or as any tank main knows, if your solder falls off, you're dead. Now, of course, I was doing this in normal content, so in normal content, no, you don't need to have permanent uptime of solder. There is a talent actually called Inner Light, so when your Shield of the Righteous expires, you gain 10% block chance, and you deal holy damage to all attackers for 4 seconds. Now, that seems fine if you played that, but I don't know. The idea of Shield of the Righteous like falling off doesn't feel great, because that's a pretty massive amount of block that you're gaining from that. So I think you gain about 20% block when you have solder up. And then when you come down here into like Fate's armor, for example, towards the bottom of the tree, you're going to be gaining additional armor while you have Shield of the Righteous active. So it just makes sense to actually go into things like Readout, because you're gaining strength and stamina, about 6% increase on that. So like there's I don't know. This seems like a weird talent choice, inner light, but I haven't played with it yet because again, I've been having issues with like trying to change talents. So the other recommendation I would say instead of Avenger Shield is somehow, somewhere, I'm not sure where, I'm not sure how, but I think they need to bake it into the tree somewhere to give us our 4 set back. Now, I'm not saying like I want everything in the tree. I'm not really saying like, I'm just saying like, oh, the Holy Power generation feels really bad right now. With the 4 set, it's like just enough, but I've played without the 4 set and I've played without the 2 set, like I said before, and it feels empty. So you know, you'll go into a pull, you'll hit your Avenger Shield, you'll Judgment, you'll Blessed Hammer, you get a proc, you Avenger Shield again, you know, you have your concentration down. And then as soon as you start kind of going into your, once you start spending your Holy Power, you run out of Blessed Hammer charges, your Judgment's on CD, and Avenger Shield doesn't give you Holy Power. So eventually, and if you're in combat for a while, there will be a point where you'll be out of buttons to hit. Especially once like pulls start to die and you only have a couple mobs hitting you, you're not blocking, therefore you're not getting your Grand Crusade proc, therefore it doesn't even matter because you're not casting Avenger Shield because it's not generating, well, you're casting it, but it's not generating Holy Power. Your Judgment will be on CD and then you'll be out of Blessed Hammer charges and you kind of sit there, you're sitting there at like 1 Holy Power and you're kind of like, all right, what do I do? I guess I'll just put down my concentration despite me just putting it down a few seconds ago. And you kind of just like sit there with your thumb up your ass. Like the rotation feels bad because you're not generating that Holy Power, because typically you would either, you can wog someone, or you can maybe use Shield of the Righteous, or whatever it may be. Those are the 2 ways I would maybe fix the Holy Power generation, is either give it back to Avenger Shield, which I don't think, like, it's confusing why they took it away. I know there's like a big issue with like Divine Toll capping, like super quick, like being able to spam solder like 8 times in like 3 seconds because you would just like Divine Toll on Avenger Shield. Or you would Divine Toll, the Avenger Shield would go out and they would just instantly generate you 5 Holy Power on top of the tier set. But they don't even, it's not like they even just took away our tier set. They're also taking away the Holy Power generation from Avenger Shield. All right, so like that's kind of the bad stuff about the tree and about the class right now. Now there's some good things about the tree too. And I don't want to leave this out because I don't want to seem like a hater. The class is probably going to be fine when it comes to overall tankiness and probably damage, especially once you kind of reach endgame. I'm only level 62, but it's speculated to that you'll be able to grab a lot of these like capstone talents. There's a lot of damage increases. There's a lot of cool like, you know, block chance increases and CDR for different, you know, cooldowns. So I'm not saying that the class is going to be bad. It just feels bad to play a tank where you have to stop hitting buttons, not even stop hitting buttons, you just have no buttons to hit. And that might change once you can start picking up some of these like maybe Bastion of Light, which again feels weird to take, or even Moment of Glory. It's just I'm not enjoying currently how the tank feels to play because of the Holy Power drought. If you kind of go down the middle of the tree, you're going to still be able to grab Ardent Defender, which again, super fun to play with. You're going to see other things like Bulwark of Order make a return. So Avenger Shield also shields you for 8 seconds, absorbing just as much damage as it dealt. So pretty cool talent here, of course. We're going to have access to Avenging Wrath Might, which increases your crit chance when you're in Avenging Wrath, or you can play Sentinel. So what this Sentinel talent does is it actually turns your wings into basically a DR. So as soon as you hit wings, you're going to have a 30% DR, and you're going to have like 30% increased health, and it's going to diminish over time. So for 5 seconds, you're going to stay at 30% DR, and then after that, you're going to lose 1 stack per second. And then as you spend Holy Power in Avenging Wrath, it's going to kind of like delay that diminishingness from the Sentinel talent. So it's like a cool DR, or you can obviously play Avenging Wrath Might for that extra damage, that extra crit. And then moving down from there, we have like Guardian of Ancient Kings being another talent choice that we're going to have access to again. But what's really cool is that they're not only keeping Righteous Protector in the game, but they're also giving us Gift of the Golden Valkyr, which Avenger Shield, based on how many enemies it hits, is going to then reduce the cooldown of Guardian of Ancient Kings. And on top of that, you're also going to have like a little mini, not cheat death, but when you drop below 20% health, you're instantly going to be infused with the Guardian of Ancient Kings for 4 seconds every 45 seconds, which is really cool. This is a nice little cheat, like a cheat death mini version. So I think 20% might be a little too low. And what I would really like to see in this talent tree, if they would actually make changes, they won't do this, but wasn't there a conduit that when you proc Guardian of Ancient Kings, you get like a free wog? That would have been so cool here. So like when you go below 20% health, you get Guardian, then you can wall yourself back up for free. That would be a really cool change as well, because of course, like I said before, it's really hard to justify hitting WOG outside of free procs. So nice little CDRs here. And then of course you're seeing like a lot of cool Avenger Shield. So you're getting damage reduction to you based off of Avenger Shield hits. You're getting extra fire damage per target hit as like a little bit of extra AoE. You're also seeing Holy Power spending, reducing Ardent Defender again, which is just nice. This is a conduit we saw in BFA, or Shadowlands I should say. And then one of my other favorite things is like the single target focus build, which this focus enmity, I didn't say that right, but that's all right. Avenger Shield deals 200% increased damage, but only strikes one target. Now, this feels very Diablo-esque, and you can kind of go into this very bursty single target where you run Bastion of Light and Moment of Glory. And then you can also like eventually get over to Divine Toll, which means like you can just dude, this in PvP, it's gonna be disgusting. So yeah, overall, first impressions, the class talent tree is great. I like a lot of the cooldown reduction components. It's gonna feel tanky when it comes to cooldowns. Something I didn't mention was IF making a return. We're gonna have a 25% DR on a 1 minute cooldown. That's gonna last for 9 seconds. That's a pretty decent uptime to fill if your solder falls off, or to kind of fill in between your Ardent Defender, maybe your Sentinel if you're playing it, as well as Guardian of Ancient King. So Paladin, a problem that they had in the past is that you just don't have the amount of DRs that you need to hit. Obviously, you want to stay in your consecration. You have Ardent Defender and Guardian. We're now gaining 2 more DRs, as well as cooldown reduction on those CDs. So overall, talent tree, great. Defensively, great. Offensive damage, like burst. It's how Paladin has kind of always felt. But the Holy Power generation needs to change, and I'm not sure how they would do that. I would say maybe you just give Holy Power generation back to Avenger Shield, or somehow bake a version of our current tier set in Shadowlands back into the talent tree. Maybe have an internal cooldown, maybe have it like every 5 seconds you'll generate a Holy Power or something, but man oh man, does it feel clunky to play. Alright, so those are my general thoughts. I didn't cover the base tree that much. There's some okay talents over here, but nothing too crazy. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm going to be trying to update you guys as there's changes on beta. If anything comes up, I'm going to obviously do more testing. Supposedly, I think we're supposed to have level 70 base characters in the next couple of weeks. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but as soon as we can start testing any game content, I will definitely be playing the Paladin a lot more, trying to figure out if it's going to be a class that's worth maining. Huge shout out to all my Patreons who give their actual real life money. I can't thank you guys enough. It allows me to do content like this and afford coffee. So hope you guys are all staying happy, healthy, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Take care.